Welcome to the 21st video in our series about Unix tools. In this video, I will show you more about the Nano text editor. At this point, you should hit pause and read the screen. Okay, so you can see there are several commands available. Alt-P, Alt-N, and Alt-C. They're not very useful when editing this kind of file. So let's see if we can find something that's going to make more sense. Let's say we want to edit ex5.py. One of the problems we had was we wanted line numbers and we didn't have a good way to do it. Well, you can press the Alt key and then the letter N. So press Alt and hold it down, press N, then release N, then release Alt. If you do that, you'll see in the left-hand column, line numbers now exist. And if you do Alt-N again, they go away. So Alt-N will toggle line number display. Toggle means if it's on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on. That was one of our problems. So let's turn that line numbering back on. Another problem was, if you look at line 7 or you look at line 11, you don't know if these are spaces or tabs or what it is. We don't really know. We could exit and use hex dump, or we could use cat with the -T or the minus uppercase A options. Is there some way to get Nano to tell us? And it turns out, yes, there is. We can use Alt and P. We used Alt-N to toggle line numbers. We can use Alt-P for white space display. And you'll see this funny looking character here, sort of a looks like a tiny double greater than. That indicates a tab, so you can see there's a tab here, there's a tab here, and then the indentation for the body of those two subroutines, which is here and here. Those use tabs for indentation. And finally, the body of this if statement also uses a tab. What are these little dots that you see here? Like that one. And wow, it's hard to mark. And that one. Those dots indicate regular spaces. So if you see this dot, and it's not a period, it's a dot in the middle of the line, it's higher than a period. And you might say, John, I don't believe you. So let's go down here and type in a period next to it so you can see. You see the period is lower. So that dot indicates a space. This tiny little double greater than indicates a tab. And then we can press Alt-P again, and that will turn off. The last thing is, we wanted to know what column number I'm in. You know, I was counting in the hex dump which column I'm in. So if I want to know which column that M is really in, how can I know? Well, there's a column line number indicator that you can use. Alt-C, C for communist. And you can see now it tells us I'm in column 19 or 25 at character 153 out of 228. So let's move to the right. You could see 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So this is the current column. This is the maximum column on that line. This is the current line number 12, and 18 is the number of lines in the file. Finally, this is the character offset. Not very useful in a program, but it might be useful in a data file. And this says right now my cursor is on the 159th character, and there are 228 characters in the file. I'm 69% through the file. I'm 100% through the line. and I'm 66% through the line numbers. If I press Alt C again, that will toggle Alt C, Alt C, Alt C, Alt C, Alt P, Alt P, Alt P, Alt P, and Alt in, Alt in, Alt in, Alt in. So those toggles are what we needed, but I couldn't use them in the previous video because I hadn't shown you much about Nano yet. Let's exit, and we won't save the buffer. We didn't make any changes. The toggles are nice, and you can turn them on and off when you need them. But sometimes you just know you're going to need a line number. Let's run the EX2 program and see what happens. Wow, it crashed. And it tells you, I've got a problem on line 12, and this came from a problem on line 8. When you read this, this is the backtrace. You always start with the bottom and you go backwards. So the problem was an index error, and it says the list index is out of range, and it points to this 1 in the sysargv. If you're a Python programmer, you know what the problem is. Sysargv is an array with the command line arguments. We didn't give any, so position 0 is going to be the ex2.py, the name of the program, but there's nothing in position 1. 1 doesn't exist, and that's why we got this error. So if we want to edit this ex2.py, we want to go to line 8 right away. So how can we turn on line numbering when we edit the file so we don't have to stop and do the toggle? We can do nano -l ex2.py, and you can see the line numbers already turned on. We want to go to line 8, and if you look down here in the bottom right, there's a go-to line. So we can do control // and it says, tell me the line number you want. So I want line number 8, and you can see I'm on the right line. It also said, give me the column number. Well, that might be a little difficult to figure out. Let's figure out what column number it really was. It's this column, which we can't see, but if we turn on our control communist, we know it's column 39. So let's go back to the beginning of the file and say, I want to jump, and I want to jump to line 8, column 32. And it jumped here because I couldn't remember that we want column 39. So let's do it again correctly, just for the record. So line 8, column 39, and it jumps right there. So that's your control /. The other way you could solve this problem is if you were in this file, you could say, I want to search for sysargv. I want to do some searching. How can I search? Do a control F, and then you say what you want to find. I want to find sysargv. And you can see it found it, highlighted it, displayed it, and then here we are. So that's really close. If I want to search again, I just press Control F, and it remembers the last thing I searched for, and it says, this is the only one. This is the only occurrence. What if I'm at the end of the file and I want to search backwards? I can do that. Control B. Control F was forward. Control B is backwards. And it will search backwards. And to repeat a backward search, press Control B again, and it says, that's the only one. Let's recap. We had Alt-N to toggle the line numbers, Alt-P to toggle spaces and tabs, and you can see this file has no Tabs, it's using spaces, which is the proper Python style. And then Alt-C to display the location. We use Control F to search forward, Control B to search backwards, Control / to go to a line, or we can do a line, comma, and then a column number. Finally, the last thing that we did was we used the -L option to say, hey, when you start, turn on the line numbers first thing. Well, can I turn on the position from Control C? Let's take a look. Looks like we don't have anything showing. So, bummer, dude. -Q didn't work. Let's try -C. -C is what we needed. So if we do -L, we get the line numbers when we start. The -C will show our position when we start. Is there any way to show the tabs when we start? I don't think that's supported by Nano today, unfortunately. The last thing is, what if we modify the file? You can see it says modified up here. I made a mistake. I want to undo. How can I undo some mistake? Control U. And it says cut buffers empty. Let's try Alt U. Alt U will undo. Sometimes you need to use Control. Sometimes you need to use Alt. We use Control F and Control B and Control /. In another video, we use Control G to get help and Control X to close. I've exceeded the 10-minute limit, so I need to stop this video. I want to thank you for listening. Please come back for our next video when I talk more about Nano.